Hello and welcome. This is the big story on the BDTV Breakfast Show. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Today we're focusing on the issues arising from the recently concluded 2025 JAMB exams, from technical errors to poor results to apologies by JAMB officials. On Wednesday, May 14, the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board admitted to a technical error as responsible for the mass failure recorded in the 2025 Unified Tertiary and Matriculation Examination. JAMB not only apologized for this error, it has gone ahead to reschedule nearly 380,000 candidates, mostly from the southeast and southwest zones of the country, to receipt for the examinations between May 16 and May 19. While this now cancelled results of the disputed UTME had shown that out of 1.9 million candidates who sat for the exams, 1.5 million scored below 200, a development that triggered widespread concerns and education amongst parents, students, and education stakeholders in the country. But a technical review conducted by JAMB subsequently revealed that a critical oversight in server updates coupled with human error led to the invalidation of results for 379,997 candidates in the 5 states of the Southeast and Lagos who sat for the examinations. Well, to discuss these issues arising from the UTME, we are being joined via Zoom. We're joined by Dr. Jessica OSUERE. Welcome to the show, Doctor.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
It's very good to have you, ma'am. So let me start by asking how shocked you were when you saw the 2025 UTME results, or were you even shocked at all?
To say I was shocked will be an understatement, honestly. You know, I was with people some times ago, and I remember I said that the generation of children we are having today, they are not just ordinary. This present generation, they are very intelligent, they are talented and all that. Given the right atmosphere, they will excel in any way you put them. So seeing that result, I was in unbelief, number one. I was shocked. And before all these revelations started coming out and all that, I knew something was terribly wrong somewhere. Even though the Minister of Education came out to give a very unfortunate statement, insinuating that the children failed that much because there was no room for cheating and all that, which to me was not a thought out, statement. So I was actually shocked, and that is it. I was really, really shocked. Thank God everything has come to light now.
Right. So when you say everything has come to light, what exactly do you think could have been the reason for this mass failure? We've never seen anything like this before. What do you think could have been the reason for it?
Yes. Thank God for the head, the head of JAMB, the registrar, Professor Blinidi, who came out very unlike what we used to have, to apologize publicly to the students, to the parents, to all stakeholders. So that is the main reason that happened. That's what happened. The glitch came from JAMB, which was their fault. And to me, it was just more than just accepting that, okay, we erred. The error came from us. It brought a national embarrassment on us all. If I was listening to him that day, emotional, crying and all that, and I saw some people at the background there clapping, and I was so angry. Sincerely, I was angry. And I asked myself, what are they clapping about? This is a national. We are trying to set the country, but each day we demarket ourselves. We do things that insane crimes we shouldn't be doing. People will not even think about. By now, heads will be rolling. But we're clapping. People were clapping. I was like, do they understand the enormity of what has happened? Do you know the trauma this has caused parents, caused children, the psychological, the everything that's happened? Do they know the impact? Do they know the enormity of this? I don't think they did. That was why maybe they were clapping and all that. So JAMB has accepted that there was a glitch, which was, from human error, which shouldn't be. And it called to question the integrity of JAMB in conducting such a nationwide examination. Our preparedness to make things better for people, for our children, the so-called, we call them, we say they are the future of the nation, they are our tomorrow. But we seem to be playing with their future. If not, I expected that even before the results were announced, let me just give you a scenario. If you have a child in the school who has been performing so well over the years and all that, then all of a sudden that child dropped like to an average, brought in an average result. Common sense should say, before you even start condemning the child or that, you should cast your mind back to the fact that this child was doing better 3 years ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. What went wrong? So I expected that when that result came out, in fact, from the first day that result came out, different, it was like an uproar all over the nation. I expected that JAMB immediately will record that result and set up their own audit and all that, and investigate what happened before it became a national embarrassment like this.
And what are some of
people needed to make noise, people needed to threaten lawsuits before JAMB now said, okay, let's bring stakeholders in and start investigating what happened. It's very embarrassing, honestly. It's embarrassing. Everybody involved. We should stop this anyhowness. Let me put that with this anyhowness in Nigeria. Doing things the way we like. We are becoming an embarrassment everywhere. And these are children we are talking about, the future of the country, the future of the nation. We cannot play, just play emotion, play politics with the lives of almost 400,000 Nigerian children. We should be apologizing to them. We should be begging them. We should be doing everything now to address this, to ensure that these children, the trauma does not just continue from what they already are. A child died. So it's painful even talking about it. It's painful, it's shameful that in this century where we are is very, very wrong. It's very wrong.
Dr. OSUERE, let me just come in here. It's interesting to find, you mentioned that if not for the fact that, people had to come out, online stakeholders, just people everywhere across Nigeria, affected people, and even those not affected, coming to speak, coming to complain, coming to shout about this situation. And it took all of this happening for JAMB to, go back and then come back to us and the public and say, oh, there was a technical error, there were glitches here and there. And then it makes you ask, so if people just accepted it for what it was, that the scores were poor and then just kept on moving, were they going to ever come out to take responsibility sometime soon? Like, were they ever going to go back and check their, check everything they dot the I's, cross the T's, and say, oh, there was this mistake, we need to have people retake this examination? Or would they have just kept it moving and parents would think, oh, their children did not do well, their children were, and they need to do better? Some people are already even, some people in their homes are already, some parents are already condemning their children, let me put it that way, for poor results. What are some of the key reforms that you would recommend to make the JAMB examination process more transparent and efficient?
Thank you. Like the first question you asked about whether JAMB would have accepted this, I'm very sure they wouldn't have accepted if not for public outcry. So we must give kudos to the social media. We must give kudos to all stakeholders, people, bodies who came out to speak against this. If not, we have moved on. like our normal practice, the way we do things. We will just shout 2-3 days and it will just everybody was, but people took it upon themselves to take on JAMB to be able to address this. And even apart from the glitches and all that, there were several issues people have been raising, we talked about concerning the conduct of the exam itself. CBT is not something that we should be having all these issues with. There are institutions today that do even their post-UTME online. My children did post-UTME. They did not travel anywhere. They sat in their house, opened their system, put on their videos. They did the exam online, got their results immediately, and there was no stress, there was nothing. The fact that we had this rough, in our own generation does not mean this thing should continue with our children. The world is moving on, so we have to move on too. You don't need to imagine these children writing JAMB and all this. They are teenagers. Some are even 15, 16, 17, So they are teenagers, they are children. But you make them pass through unnecessary stress. A child writing ordinary mock that shouldn't take more than 1 hour, living in Agege, will go to maybe Ekpe or Ijebu-Ode for mock. Traveling, the emotions, the money wasted. What of those children, even in the rural areas? No consideration for them, nothing. These children went through these houses, went through these issues, got to their centers. Some, the systems were not functioning. Some, in fact, I was discussing with some group of students, and they said at their center, after answering like 20 or 30 questions, the system shut down. They had to start rebooting, and the time was going. Before the system came back up, the exam was over. So these are the issues we should be talking about, we should be addressing. The CBT exam will not be this difficult for the children to do.
You did mention the fact that we need to address these issues. Yes, Dr. Jessica, you're talking about the fact that we need to address these issues. But how do we really address these recurring issues of these technical glitches and malpractice during JAMB's CBT computer-based tests? How do we really address these recurring issues?
JAMB should put themselves together. I must give kudos to them because I studied their system and I noticed that they have a very robust system. That's the truth. They have a robust system. Quality assurance, the mock exam they do, the simulations and all that is to ensure the quality and integrity of the exam. So majorly what went wrong in this particular issue under review is human error. Somebody simply did not do what he or she ought to have done. That was what caused the glitch. So not that their system was, not that there was really a particular problem with their system, per se. But somebody somewhere did not do what he was supposed to do. And that is why we must there must be consequences to address that. Then for the CBT centers, I don't know what the agreement of JAMB with most of the CBT centers. If you can't run a CBT center with enough power generation, with good systems, good internet facilities and all that, then there's no need for you to research a CBT center. And who says our children cannot even write their exam in their houses? Technology has gone far beyond what we're even trying to make it look like. A child can sit in the house. I'm doing this program with you now. I'm in my house, you are seeing me, I'm seeing you. So we can put all this in place. A child is writing exam, like you are seeing me now. You are seeing my video. If I want to cheat, I'm carrying a book. You should be seeing me. So it's an open thing. So I don't see reason why children cannot do this CBT even with their phone, even with their laptops in their house. Not going through all these hassles they are going through. So for me, the reform is already there. The reform is there. The human beings are not doing what they are supposed to do. We can't leave everything for machine. That's the truth. Even though the world is going AI and all that, AI will not take over everything. They are the ones we can do, we must do those. The ones AI will do that. That everybody, you do your own. When JAMB put up their statement, the first thing they said there was God, man proposes, God disposes or something. And I felt so insulted. Why must we bring God into something that was clearly human error? Clearly human fault. So for me, JAMB is robust enough with their system and what I've seen them do. But those glitches of servers, centers, activity centers, power down and all that, system shutting down, they should carry the quality assurance to all their CBT test centers ahead of every exam. Before you even send children to such a center, ensure everything is on ground for them. Test run these things and see if the systems are not working, if things are not in place, then you cancel such a CBT center. We can write this JAMB, they can write the JAMB with the available ones fast, as long as you want to spread the exams.
And Dr. Jessica, I like that you mentioned, so clearly you are of the opinion that this is just clearly human error. But you also believe that the JAMB system is robust, and that brings me to this question I want to ask you now. Let's talk about the syllabus. You have said that Can
you hear me? I seem to have lost you.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Right. So
yes,
you mentioned that it's the fact that it's a human error, but then JAMB's system is robust enough. You don't have a problem with JAMB's system. But let's talk about the current JAMB syllabus. Do you think that it's adequately aligned with Nigeria's secondary school curriculum? Also, to what role do you think that schools and teachers must play to better prepare students for this examination called JAMB?
Yes, I think the syllabus is okay. Then, that brings to my mind again another issue that some people raised, which I also felt should be addressed. JAMB has a syllabus for their exams, especially for all the subjects. Let me pick literature in English, for example. In literature in English, there were complaints that the textbooks that were recommended from JAMB to be used for this particular exams were not where the questions came from. So those are the checks JAMB is supposed to, ensure, they put in place. If you give me a textbook to use for an exam, recommended text, especially in all those subjects like literature in English, where you have the African drama, foreign drama, all those prose and all those poetry, when you give a text, you should stick to those texts in your questions. You cannot ask me to read maybe Shakespeare's Macbeth, and you're asking me questions from maybe Much Ado About Nothing. You cannot ask me to read something from Things Fall Apart, and you are bringing questions from a different textbook entirely. So I think the JAMB syllabus is okay, but they should ensure that the question set must reflect the textbooks that were recommended to the students. If not, that would be injustice on their part to the students. So that, I think that should be addressed.
Right, and as an education, okay, you said students can do more, so yes, go ahead.
Sorry?
Please go ahead. I was going to ask you the question you were about to answer. Yeah.
Okay. Parents are doing what they can. The children are in school. The teachers are doing their bit. In fact, in my own company, we also profile solutions, e-learning solutions to students and all that. And most people I've talked to, most schools I've visited and all that, they are subscribed to one online platform or the other, all in this effort to ensure that their children get the best. So the children are doing, for me, they are doing all they can to pass exams. And like I said before, the children of this generation, they are not dull. They are very intelligent children. They are reading. So we should not, that insinuation that came when this result came out, that the children are playful, they are playing, they are doing Yahoo and all that. That shouldn't be. That's the truth. That shouldn't be. We know there are some serious students, but the majority of our children are very, very serious academically. Their results over the years have proven that. Their results, even when they leave the shores of this country to other countries, have proven that our children are very, very intelligent. And the schools are doing all they can. Some are even bringing different syllabus, Nigerian syllabus, Nigerian curriculum, merging it with British and all that, just to give the children an all-round education. So I think parents are doing all they can. Schools are also doing everything they can. The system should not just frustrate the children.
Absolutely. And then, speaking about this system, you did mention earlier that maybe JAMB can even make this more digitally structured in a way that people can even write their exams from their homes. I don't know how that will be achievable, but I believe that if it's something they want to do, they'll find a way to do it. But then that brings me to the question then, if you're talking about making it more digitally inclusive for students, then how do we handle those in the rural areas who have limited access to digital infrastructure?
You see, that's a good question. There are different solutions to take care of rural people. And that's the truth. This technology age. So technology has gone beyond I'm in the forest. I cannot access this. No. Things can be done in the rural areas. Technologies can be taken to rural areas. Somebody from the village can log on to a platform and be discussing with you the way I'm discussing with you. Because technology has gone beyond that. Our network, our service providers, they're almost everywhere, So even if you have some core interior villages that maybe do not have services and all that, we can have a central place for such communities to come together to. We can set up a place. All those solutions are available. They are all available. So we can set up a place in a rural community with good, power and everything, power the place, and children can actually come there. My company has such solutions, and I know there are other people that also have such solutions. So wow. It's not something difficult to do. And that's why I keep saying that our politicians, our leaders must have that political will to do things the way they should. To do things the way they should. Internet should be everywhere. All over the country, even in the bush. People kidnapping today. They do video even from those forests, from inside the forest. They do videos. We see them all over TikTok and all that. So internet is almost everywhere. So we can leverage on that. So those in the rural areas, they don't even need to be coming to town, to do exams and all that. Things can be set up in rural areas. Technology has advanced to that extent. And we must leverage on it.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Jessica OSUERE, for your time this morning. It was truly insightful speaking with you. Truly, we can leverage on technology. We can do better with it. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you too. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, this has been the big story on the BDTV Breakfast Show. My name is Elizabeth Musa. Don't go away.